Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Hope you're all well. Now, before we kick off with this webinar session today, this Tuesday, if anybody's got any sort of technical challenges in viewing this session at all, feel free to kind of go through the usual kind of troubleshooting that we all tend to go through if something technology related doesn't work first time around. So if you are tuning in to this webinar session on your laptop or computer, feel free just to hit the little refresh icon on your web browser page. Alternatively, if you are tuning in via your YouTube app on a mobile device, feel free to come out of the app and then click back on the link that you received for this webinar session, and hopefully everything should be working for you. One thing to note with this webinar session is that live captioning is available for you. So if you did want to toggle that on throughout the course of this session, feel free to do so. If you hover over onto this YouTube video, you'll see kind of the letters CC. Inside of a small box. That is the icon for you to toggle live captioning on or off for you. Also, be sure to grab yourself a pen and paper just so you can kind of take down some notes as we go along. Okay, so I hope everyone's geared up for this session. So welcome to this Google Digital Garage webinar session, all about digital marketing strategy, which is delivered today in partnership with Wenta. My name is Rikesh, and I'm going to be your presenter, taking you through the course of this session, which is going to last for approximately 60 minutes. So I'll kick off first with just kind of a brief intro into who I am. So I'm a trainer for Google's digital skills program, Google Digital Garage. As well as that, I'm also a digital marketer. So I work with businesses to help them to create and to also grow their online presence in order to attract more customers or potential customers to their business offering. And kind of the starting point, or kind of the foundation point, when it comes to kind of setting about how to create and to grow an online presence, and kind of the approach that I tend to take is to kind of sit down and create a strategy, create a blueprint, which is what we're going to be discussing today when we talk about digital marketing strategy. So that's just a little bit about me. I'd also like to introduce to you at this stage my colleague and fellow Google Digital Garage trainer, and that is Benedict. Now, whilst you won't see Benedict on screen, you should see Benedict appear from time to time in the live chat. And the live chat should be located on the right-hand side of your YouTube screen. That is your space to get involved, drop in questions, drop in comments that you might have. I might not be able to kind of answer in the time that we have available all of your questions, or I might not know the answers to all of the questions. That's where Google comes in, because I guess kind of for some questions that might come in, which I might not know the answer to, or Bendit might know the answer to, it might be something for you to kind of go away and maybe Google it, ironically, going forward. But feel free to get involved in the chat as we go along. And some of you've been kind of introducing yourself, where you're kind of tuning in from, as I kind of dropped a quick question in the chat just before we got going. So welcome to Eureka, tuning in from London. Welcome to you. We've got Dawit tuning in from London. We've got Joe from Banbury. We've also got Catherine from London. We've got Bill Keys tuning in from Cheshire. We've got Jody tuning in from Lincoln. We've also got AJ as well, who's tuning in. We've got Eva. We've also got Saeed from Pakistan. And then we've also got Dan and Funk tuning in from London, and Nadeem from Bangladesh. So welcome to you all. It's great to see that we've not only got kind of a UK based audience, but we've also got kind of an international audience as well. So I really hope that you find this this webinar session useful. Now, this session that we're running on digital marketing strategy today is one of many webinars that we actually run as part of a wider Google Digital Garage webinar offering. So if you have a look down below me where I'm pointing, you'll see that there is a video description box. Contained within that video description box is a link to the Google Digital Garage website. Now, many of you might have actually signed up for this webinar session using the Google Digital Garage website, and you will have already seen on the live training section on the tab, you'll see that there is a list of lots of other webinar sessions, predominantly digital marketing related, which is the space where you can actually sign up for more webinars, and then you can tune in on the right day, on the right time, at the right time as well, onto YouTube, just like you're doing for now, and you can do this at no charge. Also, for those of you tuning in from the UK, and as I looked in the chat, there were many of you who are tuning in from the UK. Be sure to also check out some of the in-person training events that we are running in there as well. So if that's of interest to you and you're kind of local enough to the area, feel free to kind of sign up for some of those in-person events as well. Another fantastic resource you'll find on the Google Digital Garage website is the online courses section. So on that tab, you'll see a list of quite a number of online courses that aim to kind of supplement the learning that you do on these webinar sessions as well. And there is a course in there particular which you'll see appear first as the first online course, which is called the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course, which is a course that upon completion, you'll actually receive a certificate at no charge from Google, recognizing that you've completed that course. And it's called the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course. So definitely check out all those resources when you get a moment. But let's have a look at what we're covering in this session, all about digital marketing strategy. So the way that we're going to be breaking down this session is we're going to be breaking down into kind of 3 segments, just like you can see here on screen. So first of all, we're going to be understanding digital marketing. Now, we're not going to understand it, go into kind of the depths of kind of definition and kind of diving deep into that. But what we're going to look at is we're going to look at from a point of view of what's the upside from us as a business or a startup or an entrepreneur, somebody maybe looking to kind of create something. What is the upside for us having an online presence, for us to get involved in digital marketing? Because it's very important to kind of have a filter and think, what's kind of why should I spend time creating a social media presence or do email marketing, whatever it might be. And you've all kind of heard or kind of might have kind of seen somewhere where you kind of hear that kind of age-old cliche of time is money. And when it comes to business, if we're going to spend a considerable amount of time doing something, we want to make sure that there's upsides to it. It's going to be beneficial to us. So we're going to be just kind of spending a brief time on that and kind of understanding kind of the upsides. And once we've done that, we're then going to go on to exploring some of the key digital marketing channels that exist out there. Some of these you might be using already for your business or organization, and some of these it might be kind of nice just to kind of get that kind of rounded picture of what it's about, even if you're not looking to use this select digital marketing channel at this stage. We'll then round off this session by looking at how we can build a digital marketing plan. So we'll be going through what we identify to be a good step-by-step kind of structure and a framework, and feel free to kind of jot down notes as we go along when it comes to that segment as well. So before we get going with the first part, I want to draw attention to another fantastic resource that is available on screen, which says free one-to-one mentoring available from Google. So Google Mentoring is a fantastic opportunity for those of you who are a small business or a charity based in the UK to have that more tailored discussion with a mentor. So typically with a mentoring session, you'll be able to have a video call conversation with a mentor, to kind of talk in a little bit more detail about certain elements of your online presence. So it might be relating to your website or your social media presence, perhaps, or anything else in between. So definitely recommend that you check this out if you work for a small business or a charity based in the UK. The link is on screen here. I'm sure that Bendit will kindly drop a link in the live chat for you as well. So let's have a look at kind of the first part of this session. I want to kick off by asking you all a question. So get involved in the live chat with this question, which you can see here on screen, which is, what opportunities do we get from being online? So if we kind of think of this from kind of a business perspective, even for those of us out there who might not necessarily have a specific product or a service to sell right now, feel free to kind of put yourselves in the shoes of your favorite fashion brand, or your favorite kind of retail store that you go to. Just kind of think, if I was kind of the CEO, if I was the person who was kind of steering the ship, what opportunities would there be for me from creating an online presence, right? So just seeing some of the comments that are coming in here at the moment. So Jahan's mentioned advertising. Yes, absolutely. And as advertising kind of leads into visibility, Jahad, yeah, absolutely. With that, all that matters, as mentioned, get to reach out to a broader audience. Fantastic point there as well. Eureka's mentioned increase the amount of customers who see your product. Yes, absolutely. The visibility aspect. And Claire Galway Hotels also mentioned awareness there. Yeah, absolutely. Babs has mentioned more customers. Jodie's mentioned collaborations, referrals, brand awareness to much wider audience. Yeah, you kind of mentioned quite a few there, Jodie, which is absolutely fantastic. Dana Funk's mentioned ability to make worldwide connections. Yeah, connections very, very important, especially from kind of a business and organization perspective. We're able to kind of kind of create networks of people who we might at this stage might not be collaborating with, as Jody mentioned. It might not be kind of any synergy for collaboration as yet, but that's something which we can kind of explore at later stage as well. Dawit has mentioned selling products and services. Yeah, we can directly sell online. Sedan's mentioned mass communication. Yeah, the key word there is mass. Absolutely, Sedan. And Urmi's mentioned create customer engagement and experience. Yeah, so you've all kind of really kind of answered this question. And there's different kind of opportunities that we get from having an online presence. And all of this is I'm kind of like surrounded by the one fact which kind of leads us to all these opportunities that we have online. And that one fact, which I'm sure many of us are all aware of, is that we now live in a mobile world. Our primary device that we have pretty much day in and night out is our smartphone. That is the device that does everything for us, essentially on a day-to-day basis. We can work from our smartphone. We can check emails. We can take photos. We can get walking or driving or public transport directions going on there as well. And there's other kind of apps that allow us to do other things. And that's kind of, you can see that from even kind of a business perspective, that especially from kind of an e-commerce point of view, you can see that there's 80% of us in the UK buy online. I'm sure for those of you who are tuned in from other countries, part of the world, I'm sure those figures will be quite high as well. And that figure of 80% of the UK population buying online, that figure is as accurate to the year 2020. So that figure may well have actually increased perhaps as well. You can also see that there's 2.5 smartphones that are in use today. And also, crucially, from a business perspective, across the world, so worldwide, 60% of searches are actually carried out on mobile devices. So it's very important to be aware of that factor. Anything that we create as a mobile, as an online presence, we want to make sure that it's mobile friendly straight off the bat. So some of the opportunities that you kind of mentioned was kind of reach. You mentioned that we're able to kind of reach more people globally. That's kind of the beauty of the internet. So, I know some of you mentioned that you're tuning in from London. So if you are a business that is based in London, but you want to sell to France or, further afield, like to the likes of Australia, then you can do that by reaching those people through the power of having an online presence as well. And even with, even if you are a business that is just focusing on your home country, what you can actually do is you can actually use tools to help you to identify whether there is an interest in your product or service offering in other countries. And one of the tools that you can use is one that you can see here on screen with the screen grab, which is Google Trends. So if you just type in Google Trends or visit trends.google.com, you'll be able to kind of see what is the interest over a certain period of time in products or services that you sell. So you can see what is the interest in the United Kingdom, compare that with Ireland, or compare that with the United States, for example, as well. Now, another factor, which I'm sure many of you kind of alluded to as well, and just kind of picking up on a comment here from Kritesh mentioned discover interest and demand. Yeah, absolutely. And to serve or advertisement on time. Yes, serve, kind of show an advert in line with what is the appetite and what is the demand of customers or potential customers as well. And it's very important for us to identify what our customers want, right? And the way that we can actually learn more about our customers is to actually use tools that are available from us merely having an online presence. So you can see a couple of these tools here on screen. So you've got the likes of Facebook Insights. So for those of you who already have a Facebook business page set up, you might well be aware of this, because this is the analytical section of the Facebook platform, which allows you to kind of find out more information about your customers. There's different kind of things such as kind of interests, maybe kind of hobbies, and which parts of your business page are being clicked on the most, for example, as well. And then similarly, you've got Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is a website analytics tool which is available at no charge, which you, once connected to your business website, allows you to essentially track every click that happens on that business website. And once we're able to kind of use these analytical and insight tools, even with kind of social media, you've got Instagram insights, you've got YouTube analytics, you've got Twitter analytics. Most, if not all, social media platforms out there do have their own kind of versions of these. It's all good and well looking at information, looking at this data, but we want to make improvements, because the more that we know about our customers or potential customers, the more that we can market to them, the more that we can tailor our adverts or tailor our website content, tailor our product descriptions towards that specific type of customer base, the ones that are most interested in your business offering as well. So that's a really fantastic opportunity. The more that we kind of know about our customers and using some of these tools that are available to us online, the more that it's going to help us when it comes to our kind of promotion and marketing efforts going forward as well. And the final kind of opportunity that I want to kind of leave you with before we kind of go into some of the key digital marketing channels that exist out there, and some of the opportunities, first of all, is kind of we're able to kind of communicate and support our customers better. And when I say customers, you can change the word customer to be consumer, to be client, to be patron, however you wish to kind of call them. And it could be potential. You can kind of preface it and say a potential customer of mine. I'm able to kind of communicate and support them better by having an online presence. So nowadays, because many businesses and charities do tend to have a social media presence, people can send those organizations direct messages, especially if they're on the verge of maybe buying something. They can ask a quick query via a direct message, and that could be the difference between somebody buying from you or not. Equally, if somebody's not happy with something and they want a matter resolved, they can actually just reach out via social media predominantly, which can elicit a quicker response than going through the channel of a generic customer services email address that you kind of send, and then you might not get a reply within the time frame that you wish to as a customer. And that and kind of having this online presence allows you to kind of elevate and lift your customer service levels better as well. So let's have a quick check-in, see if there's any sort of comments or questions at this stage. I can't see any questions. There's maybe kind of one or two, but I believe that Benedict has been kindly answering them in the live chat. If there are any questions, pop them in the chat. A combination of myself and or Benedict will be able to provide our thoughts on them in the time that we have together. So let's actually kick on and actually look at some of the digital marketing channels that exist and the ones that we're going to be touching upon in this session. And we're not going to be kind of speaking very much in depth with each one of these, because each one of these can be kind of, I guess, their own webinar session all to themselves, specifically as well. But these are kind of the key channels that we've identified. We're going to go on a bit of a whistle-stop tour of them, just to kind of make you aware about some of these digital marketing channels that exist. And this is something crucially which will be useful when we come and visit the steps that we identify to make a digital marketing strategy or plan. So this is something which is going to be crucial later on as well. So it's just important just to be aware of these. And as we go through each one of these, it's something where you want to kind of keep in mind, it's interesting to know about this type of marketing or that type of marketing, but don't feel kind of the need to think, oh, I've got to incorporate this type of marketing, because we're going to save all that when it comes to creating our own digital marketing strategy as well. So you've got different types of marketings here on screen. You've got social media marketing, you've got content, you've got email marketing, display marketing. But what we'll do is let's actually kick off with kind of search marketing first and foremost. So when it comes to search marketing, the best place to actually start is just by kind of dissecting this page, which you can see here on screen. So this is what is known as a search engine results page. So if any of us have ever typed anything onto Google and hit the enter key or hit the magnifying glass button, we would be shown results typically like this, albeit different results depending on what we are all searching for. So you can see with this example, somebody's actually typed what they're looking for, which is best compact camera for travel. So where that's been typed is what is known as a search query box. And that's where we type in what are known as keywords. So keywords are words or phrases that are actually typed into that search query box. So the word camera is a keyword. What you can see here on screen, best compact camera for travel, is a keyword. Another keyword could be something like a long question. Where is the best place in Westminster, London, to buy a compact camera for travel? That is a keyword as well. So it's important just to kind of be aware of that factor, that is the search query box, that is where it kind of is housed. And then we get the first part of the results. And the first part of the results is the advertising section. So this is where we've got paid and kind of shopping. As you see that there's a combination between both of them here on screen. And then after that, we've got an area called the organic search listings. Now, this is a section where, by very virtue of you having, for say, kind of a business website set up, you will appear within this kind of sections. So just by very virtue of you having a business website, you will appear here at no charge. However, the rub is that you might appear on the 15th page, you might appear on the 5th page, you might appear on the 2nd page, you might ideally appear where you want to be, which is kind of maybe on the 1st page where you're getting full visibility when the person first gets their results. So that's something to kind of be aware of there as well. But in order to kind of go from being on the 15th page to being on the 1st page, it's a process. And this process is something known as search engine optimization. You might have heard the abbreviation, which is SEO. I think everybody in the marketing space loves a good acronym. But search engine optimization is essentially the process of improving not only the quantity, but also the quality of visitors to your website. Now, with search engine optimization, our main goal with this process is to help the likes of Google to not only locate our website content, so think about kind of web pages, where they are, how your website interlinks, but also understand what your website content is about. Understand things such as your product descriptions, for example, as well. Now, a really kind of useful tool that can help us to monitor our progress within this search engine optimization process is a Google tool called Google Search Console, which is another Google tool available at no charge. And what this Search Console tool does is it essentially allows you to monitor your progress in terms of your average page ranking. So as the number goes lower, that's good news for you. So hopefully it'll enable you to kind of see whether you're heading in the correct trajectory or whether you need to make maybe some alterations or corrections in regards to that. And there's other fantastic features of Google Search Console that you can utilize as well. Now, in terms of kind of factors that are kind of deemed in terms of what by making certain improvements to your website over others will kind of help with you kind of climbing those kind of page rankings. There are hundreds of factors that kind of go into kind of determining where you kind of sit in terms of your page ranking. There's some top tips here that you can see here on screen. So you can see run keyword research, find what sort of words and phrases people are using in conjunction with your product or service offering, because our kind of even phrases in terms of what we type into that search query box change over a period of time. So, for example, that phrase of near me, that's something that we weren't really using about 8-9 years ago. That often we were just typing in pizza restaurant in London. We're just very kind of, that's it, rather than typing pizza near me, which we kind of now abbreviate to, for example, as well. So our search behaviors change over a period of time. So you can use tools such as the likes of Google Trends to help to kind of find out what some of those keywords are that people are using, whether it be an individual word or kind of a longer phrase perhaps as well. Another tool that you can use to kind of research on keywords is a tool called Keyword Planner. which is a tool that is actually built into the Google Ads platform as well. So you don't need to run any ads in order to use that specific tool, but definitely recommend that you kind of research and kind of find out what keywords people are using, and that kind of can be food for thought when it comes to incorporating maybe some of those words so far as it is coherent enough within the web pages that you are creating as well. Because remember, it's not a case of just Google finding your web pages, but also understanding your content within those web pages as well. You can also see we want to make sure that we're publishing useful, high quality content, and also making sure web pages are search friendly. So this can be something as simple as making sure our web page titles accurately reflect what this web page is talking about, even if it's just kind of the product. As long as it's got the specific product title, that is something which is making things kind of more search friendly as well. And there are hundreds of factors, as I mentioned, that kind of determine where you kind of rank. One thing to also note, we want to make sure that our website is mobile ready as well and mobile friendly. But there's some other fantastic kind of good practices and best practices and kind of guiding principles to incorporate. There's a really fantastic video which is available on Google's YouTube channel. So if you just type in on YouTube how Google search works, there's a really short video which I believe it's titled "How Google Search Works in 5 minutes," and it's a really fantastic overview, and there's some fantastic kind of guiding principles in there as well. Now, just following on from kind of this search engine optimization process, as well as kind of being found in that kind of organic search listing section, we also want to make sure that we are visible to our local customer base or potential customer base. And you can see some of the kind of the platforms where we can kind of create that visibility. Now with Google, we can create that visibility by creating a Google business profile. And it looks like this. If you see it on mobile, if you see it on a desktop computer or kind of laptop, you'll see that within the search engine results page, this will appear on the right-hand side of the page. But it's got kind of useful information, useful business information. So it's got opening hours, it's got kind of star reviews. You can add photos in there as well as a question and answer section as well. You can also add in an address. Now, if you are a business, there are many businesses out there now who don't necessarily have a specific business address or kind of location. There is an option when you actually set up a Google business profile, which you can, by the way, do and create at no charge. We do a fantastic webinar session called Get Your Business Visible on Google. And also a follow-up session on Find Customers with Google Maps, which kind of goes into kind of the setup process in more detail for you as well for creating a Google business profile at no charge. But if your business is not kind of a bricks and mortar store or a specific business address, there is an option for you to select that you are not kind of a physical store, but then you can also select which parts of the country that you're based in that you cover or kind of deliver to or distribute to, for example, or different parts of the world as well. But the beauty of kind of having a business profile, a Google business profile, is that we're creating another piece of visibility across that search engine results page as well. And we can do this at no charge, which is really, really useful. And it shows people that we're active as well as a business. So if we kind of update with photos, maybe get some more reviews, maybe update our opening hours to reflect maybe public holidays that we might have where we are based as well, maybe refresh and kind of add a new menu or add some new information about kind of new products that we're launching. That's something which shows people that you're active and that you really care about your online presence as well, because I think it's important to always be transparent with an audience, whether it be kind of offline kind of marketing and promotion, but also online with our presence as well. Now, another element of kind of search marketing, we've spoken about this search engine optimization process, but there's also another element which is known as search engine marketing, or also known as search advertising. You can see here search engine marketing. It's got another acronym here, which is SEM. But you can see kind of the comparisons between the two here. So search engine optimization, as we spoke about, this is a process where we are kind of working on those search listings that are available or kind of discoverable for free. Kind of that's why the word kind of organic persists there as well. and where we're looking to kind of improve the quality of our website through kind of optimizing keywords that we spoke about as well. But you can see that the caveat to this is that it can take time to rank on the first page of the Google search results. And that's where search engine marketing comes into play. So this is where you kind of pay to kind of get into that blue section, which is the advertising space, which is just after the search query section. So you're kind of paying to be in that prominent position, and kind of paying your way to the top, which you can do, and kind of run search engine ads alongside improving the quality of your website. So you can run this search engine optimization process alongside running adverts on search engines as well. And this is just to kind of increase that visibility as well. So this is kind of another consideration, which is part of search marketing as its whole. But to create an advert, especially an advert that's going to run on the Google search engine platform, you would create a search campaign within the Google Ads platform. And as I mentioned earlier on, Google Ads is a platform which is really useful to find keywords. There's a tool called Keyword Planner. So I definitely recommend that, not only for when you're looking to improve the quality of your website, but also especially when you're running ads, because with advertising, any type of advertising, online or offline advertising, there is typically an advertising budget at play, and we want to make sure that we're getting a return on our investment that we put out there as well. And we also want to make sure that we're kind of then, once we kind of pick the right keywords, writing a compelling ad that's hopefully going to make somebody want to click onto it as well. So as well as kind of optimizing our keywords, we can also boost our ads with things like extensions. So they're little things which you can typically add on at no charge. So things like if you hit the telephone icon on a Google ad, that will give you a pop-up on your smartphone to say, would you like to call this telephone number? That is an ad extension. So that's something that you can tag on at no charge. Another ad extension is on your advert, the ability to see the actual location of your business address, for example. And if somebody was to click on that, that will take them through to Google Maps, either the page or the Google Maps app, depending on if they're viewing it on kind of a desktop or a mobile device as well. And also monitor your progress with advertising in general. Any type of advertising, we don't just want to spend and kind of have an advertising budget and just let the advertising kind of roll and just let kind of the money kind of go through and kind of the budget to kind of go through. We want to monitor our progress, and that's where connecting Google Ads to our Google Analytics account comes into play. So we can find out of the people that are clicking onto our Google Ads advert, what are they then doing? Those individuals that are clicking onto an advert and visiting our website, what are they then doing on our website? What product pages, what service pages are they visiting as well? We've then got display marketing, which is another type of digital marketing channel. And display marketing, or display advertising, as it's sometimes also called, is these things that you can see on screen with this screenshot. You can see in kind of the yellow boxes. These are what I like to call kind of the billboards of the internet. They typically, or most commonly, appear in image-based form, but they can also be text-based and also video-based. With display advertising, the way that it differs from search engine marketing or kind of search advertising is that these adverts appear on publisher sites or other people's websites. So you might have seen these on maybe your local news websites, where they might appear on the top or the sides when you're trying to read an article, for instance, or a piece of content on a particular website as well. And you can also run display adverts using the Google Ads platform. The type of campaign that you create is called a display campaign, and then you get taken through kind of the wizard process of how to create a display advert within the Google Ads platform. We actually dive a little bit more deeper into this, kind of the setup process to this in our webinar session that we run called Get Started with Digital Advertising. So if that's of interest to you, be sure to check that out and book yourself onto the next running session on the Google Digital Garage website, which, remember, the link to which is down below. Now, when it comes to display advertising, it's very important to create something that's visually appealing. Especially kind of, some of you might be similar to me, whereby when you look at some of these ads that appear out there, they just kind of disappear into the distance because you've learned to kind of tune them out. So you want to pick a very visually appealing advert, but that's in line with your business and in line with the product or service that you are kind of selling, essentially, through the advert as well. So it's important to understand where our customers are spending time, which websites that they're spending time on. We can use the power of kind of remarketing. So whereby somebody kind of visits a specific page once, you can kind of remarket, use kind of these display adverts to kind of run these adverts on other pages that they visit, and maybe they come back to that product and buy from you, for instance, as well. And again, test and optimize, analyze, see what's working, see what needs kind of adjusting, and then make adjustments off the back of that as well. You've then got another digital marketing channel that exists out there, which is getting started with social media marketing. Now, before we actually look at social media marketing in its entirety, let's just briefly touch upon kind of the upsides of having a social media presence. One of the biggest factors is that we can generate sales. So the beauty of social media is in the UK, over 85% of the population are on social media. You might have heard of that phrase, attention economy. And that really kind of applies to the world of social media, because a lot of us are spending time on social media platforms. So from a business perspective, that's a lot of attention. That's a lot of eyeballs that are viewing these platforms. So we can kind of lean into that and actually think, oh, maybe I can promote my business or my product or service offering through these platforms as well. And again, with social media, it helps with kind of reach as well. So people in other countries are able to actually find out about your product and service offering as well. Something I mentioned earlier on was the fact that we can add value to our brand using social media as kind of a digital marketing channel, because by having an Instagram account, by having a YouTube channel, people can actually reach out to you. And that is something which can help elevate customer service levels as well. Now, we can also improve our marketing efforts. So if you were to right now, maybe open up another tab or use another device whilst you're tuning into this webinar session, and kind of search for your favorite fashion brand, or search for your favorite retail store, chances are on the Google search results, not only will you find a link to their website, but chances are you'll also find a link to their YouTube channel, a link to their Instagram account, a link to their Facebook page, for example, as well. So it does have kind of an added benefit or an additional benefit in terms of kind of improving kind of visibility from a marketing perspective as well. Now, there are two types of social media. You get organic social media, which is, as you can see here, it says free. So this is something you can do right now. You can post onto one of your social media business profiles, and it doesn't cost you anything. However, the reach is kind of more limited. So you'll only kind of reach a proportion of the people that kind of follow you or follow your content. And that's where paid social media comes into play. So kind of social media advertising. And that kind of opens up the gates, and you're able to kind of get into the news feeds of those individuals that would never have searched for you and would never have thought that you have this fantastic product or service that they're now interested in buying, perhaps, as well. However, the word advertising was mentioned, I just mentioned. And with the word advertising, there comes a budget. So that's something to kind of consider as well. And as I mentioned, with all of these digital marketing channels that we're just kind of going through here, it's important just to consider whether that is something for you or not, because when we come to strategy, that's something which you can then evaluate for your own business as well. So with social media marketing, I don't want to dive too much into each one of these points about kind of identifying our target audience and choosing our social media channels and posting regularly, because we actually dive much deeper into this, because as this webinar session is titled Digital Marketing Strategy, we also have another fantastic webinar session called Social Media Strategy, where we dive much deeper into this, where we talk about kind of what each of the social media channels that kind of exist out there, what kind of audiences they're made for, but also what type of content we can look to kind of create on them as well. And just kind of identifying which social media channel or channels that we're going to have a presence on, and then look to kind of build out an audience and look to build content around what our ideal type of customer base are looking for in terms of the content that on social media as well. Now, some top tips with social media marketing in general is to set yourself a goal. We go through a fantastic goal setting exercise in our social media strategy webinar session. Also understand your audience, where they're spending time, where are they spending time, what interests them with content. Is it for entertainment? Is it for education? Is it for anything else in between? Is it for just kind of to be inspired, for example, as well? And the one thing with social media that would kind of impress, which I'm sure many of us are all aware about, is the fact that it can be a wall of noise. So if you were to post something right now, chances are, give it 20 minutes and when this webinar session concludes, and you might have to scroll a few times to see your post again as well. So we want to be posting on a regular basis, but more importantly than posting on a regular basis is posting on a consistent basis. So even if we do only post like 3 times a week, perhaps, or once a month, if that as well, then we want to make sure that we're consistent with our posting, because the one thing with social media is that consistency builds trust with our audience. And when I say audience, this could be a potential customer, this could be a customer already, somebody who's looking to maybe return as well. So that's kind of social media. Now, another digital marketing channel is email marketing. So email marketing is exactly what kind of the name suggests. It's where you are essentially sending an email to either a small group of people, or 100 people, or 1,000 people, or however many people you've got in your email list, essentially. And you're sending them an email, whether it be kind of a newsletter or product announcement, or any other kind of topic that you are going to be discussing in that email as well. But the one thing to note with email marketing is that it needs to be something which people opt into. So they need to opt in to receive your email, essentially. Now, when it comes to email marketing, there's some fantastic email marketing platforms out there. One of the kind of, I guess, more of the well-known ones is MailChimp, which I can't recommend enough. It's a fantastic tool, but there's also some fantastic advanced email marketing platforms that you can see here on screen, which are also great as well. So it's definitely something to explore. The likes of MailChimp does have kind of a free version that you can use. And then if you want kind of additional features, then you can kind of upgrade to kind of a more premium offering, or kind of more of the advanced email marketing platforms out there as well. And it's important with email marketing to create relevant and useful content. And it's also important to segment. So if certain people have got interested in this topic and this topic, and then other people got interested in this topic and this topic, maybe you can send 2 different emails. It might involve a little bit more work, but the upside to that is that you might have more individuals who end up essentially be willing to buy from you, or be willing to visit your website perhaps as well. Another thing to also keep in mind is, because we live in a mobile world, test your emails out, see how it looks on mobile devices. So whenever you set up kind of email newsletters, or any other type of kind of email content that you're creating, that you're sending out to people, as well as testing out on kind of a laptop and a computer, make sure you also see how it looks on other devices as well. And again, measure, see what's working, see what's not working for you. And a lot of these platforms like MailChimp, they allow you to measure things such as open rates. So of the 100 people that you sent your email to, how many of those, or what percentage of those have actually opened your email? And of those people that have opened your email, how many of those, or what percentage of those people are actually clicking on a link that you've put into, and kind of that you've referred to within your email itself as well. So the final type of marketing I just want to mention here on this kind of whistle-stop tour that we've been kind of going through is content marketing, which you might think, doesn't content marketing kind of flow into what we've already kind of spoke about, the digital marketing channels? And you'd be absolutely correct, because content marketing is less about selling your product, but it's more about selling your idea. But the way that we do that is by creating different pieces of content. You can see some examples here on screen, like videos and blogs, but trying out different pieces of content. And the main kind of goal of content marketing is to essentially get somebody down essentially what is known as the customer's journey map. So this is somebody who has only just found out about you, what your product is, what you're all about. And then you've got somebody on the end of the customer journey who has bought from you, and who may well be buying from you once again as well. And you can use different pieces of content to get that individual down the sales, kind of the sales customer journey as well. So you can see some top tips for success with content marketing, but the one that I want to kind of pick out of all of these is to use the power of storytelling. As humans, we're invested in the power of storytelling. It's the reason why we probably watch episode after episode after episode of our favorite show on a streaming service. It's probably the reason why we all kind of go to the movies and cinemas, because we're to watch certain movies over others, maybe by certain directors, perhaps, so because we're invested in the storylines of certain movies, perhaps as well, or even kind of franchises of movies. You know, if you think about number one, two, three, etc., of certain movie franchises, where we want to, we're quite invested in the continuity and see how kind of the story plays out as well. So just have a quick check in with questions before we kind of move on. I believe that Bendit has been kind of typing away eagerly in the live chat, answering some questions which have been coming through, which is great stuff. If there are any final questions, pop them in the chat as we come on to the final part of this session, which is looking at how we build out a digital marketing plan. So these are essentially what we've identified as being the 6 steps to essentially create your own digital marketing plan or digital marketing strategy, digital marketing framework, digital marketing structure, however you wish to kind of phrase this for your own business. And this is a structure which you're more than welcome to kind of jot down notes on and look to apply each one of these 6 elements to your business as we go along. Now, just to kind of help us as we kind of go through this these 6 steps, I want to kind of introduce kind of a business example. It kind of helps sometimes whenever we're kind of going through a concept, whenever kind of going through a step-by-step approach to apply this to something. So I want to essentially introduce you to Max, the hairdresser. So they've said, hi, I'm Max. I'm a hairdresser. My business goals are. And that's where we're starting off with kind of the first step, which is business goals and objectives. So Max's business goals that they've set out is that they want to get more customers through my door, new and past, and make more people in my area know my business exists. Okay, great little kind of short paragraph there, which kind of outlines their business goal or goals. You might very well have your own business goals. It might be something like your mission statement that you've created. But what we want to do with this business goal that we've got, which might be on our business plan whenever we kind of set up our organization, or kind of our mission statement that we've kind of created, is we want to align that with online objectives. Now you can see some examples of online objectives. So increasing traffic to my website, increasing online reach and awareness there as well. So if we kind of do this for Max the hairdresser, so let's say that they want to, what part of their business goal was to make more people aware that that their hairdressers exist. So the online objective to that is increase online reach and awareness. Similarly, we don't know yet with this digital marketing plan for Max, but say for example they were selling some of their hair care products on the website. We don't even know if they have a website yet, but say that they were. That could be a business goal, sell more products. The online objective to that will be increase website sales. So you can see it's kind of a lot of the times it's the same sentiment, but different wording. But what that different wording does is that it helps you as an individual kind of dial in a little bit more with the online presence side of things, as opposed to your wider business goal. So I think it helps to kind of give it kind of gives you kind of a focal point to kind of aim towards as well. Hence why that this particular step of kind of aligning business goals and objectives comes at the very kind of first step of our strategy framework itself as well. So that's kind of step 1. Now, step 2 here is thinking about budget and resource. So this is very much kind of a question that we just need to kind of be aware of and just kind of think, whoa, where am I right now? That's all we have to ask ourselves. Where am I right now in terms of budget and resources that I have available to hand? And it's something that we want to be very much kind of open and honest with. But it's also something which we can come back to revisit at a later stage. So maybe right now, you can see here on screen with Max's response, I don't have a website yet as it's too much of an investment right now. That's fine. But what I'd say to kind of steer clear of is thinking that you've got a lot of budget, you've got a lot of resources, when in fact you don't necessarily have that yet. So always be thinking with this particular digital marketing plan framework is kind of thinking the now, because there's nothing stopping you at all circling back to step 2 and thinking, yeah, now I have a budget for advertising, or now I have a budget for websites, for example, as well. But it's important in kind of the now, when you are creating the framework, to just be open and honest about where you are at the current stage that you are, as well. Now, step 3 is thinking about our audience as well. So when I say audience, you can change the word audience to customers if you wish to, or clients, which is fine. But at this stage, what you want to do is identify the characteristics of your ideal type of customer. So you can see here with this kind of short description that Max has created, and this says, I'm targeting females in my local area. My most valuable customers are females above 30 years old. They normally have children and work part-time. Most of them use Facebook. So you might be wondering, well, Rikesh, well, how did Max actually get this information? Well, let's just kind of make an assumption, because it's a hypothetical example of Max the hairdresser. Let's make the assumption that Max's hairdressers has been running for a certain period of time, like a couple of years or so. So they are actually drawing upon the experiences that they've gained from the people that have walked in through the door. That's allowed them to create this kind of definition or description, essentially, of their general kind of customer base. Now, if you are a new business kind of starting off, then this is a step which is going to be a little bit more challenging, but it's something that you can actually bring in from your market research in terms of the people that you feel, who you believe are going to be most attracted to your business offering. Now, again, this is similar to kind of the budget section that we spoke about in step 2. There's nothing stopping us from kind of circling back to this step, because maybe we do start trading and then we find, oh no, these are the characteristics of my customers or potential customers, and most of them actually spend a lot of time on Instagram, for example, or most of them spend time on YouTube. So it's something to kind of think about. With that, there's nothing stopping you kind of going back and maybe making adjustments and alterations afterwards as well. Now, step 4 is thinking about which digital marketing channels are that you're going to be using and are going to be appropriate for you in this very moment, in the here and now. And we want to align our online objective that we hopefully created in step 1 with our decision on which digital marketing channels to incorporate. Now, you can see that there's kind of like a color-coded coordination here on screen. So if you want to increase website sales, for example, the digital marketing channels that have been selected on screen are running adverts on search engines, search engine optimization, also email marketing. However, with all of these, how they're kind of color-coded, it's just an example. So you can chop and change. And this is why it was very important that we kind of went on that kind of whistle-stop tour of those digital marketing channels that all kind of exist out there, or the key ones that exist out there, as there are the digital marketing channels as well. But it's important just to kind of have that awareness of things such as search engine marketing, so running adverts on search engine platforms, because we might not necessarily be in that position. We might not necessarily have a budget, like we spoke about in step 2, to actually run any adverts on search engines. And that's something which we might just put on kind of like the back burner. We might think, oh, I know that knowledge, so if I ever wanted to, if I had a budget down the line, I could consider it. But maybe I could push on with having a social media presence, kind of from the organic side. Maybe I've got a little bit of budget to play with for running adverts or trialing adverts on social media for when I do have more of a budget, perhaps, as well. And then you've also got other options, the likes email marketing as well. So it's important just to be aware at this stage what works for you. And as I mentioned, don't kind of feel the need to incorporate all of these digital marketing channels, because again, if we incorporate and kind of think, oh, I've got to run adverts, I've got to run adverts on social media, I've got to run adverts on search engine, I've also got to do email marketing, I've also got to create kind of organic content for social media, and everything else, all these other different types of digital marketing channels, then essentially not only can that be costly and maybe kind of be going over budgets if we did have a budget at all, but also we're kind of spreading our time thin. we're spreading ourselves thin. And maybe that might diminish the quality of our website content perhaps as well, which kind of becomes sort of counterproductive in ways as well. So it's important just to kind of think about those things, especially when it comes to this step of deciding which digital marketing channels are right for you and your organization as well. Now, step 5 for me personally, this is probably the most important step, which says, you can see, plan your activity. I'd probably like to rephrase this sometimes to be action steps. So when it comes to creating a plan, when it comes to creating a blueprint or strategy, anything, however we wish to kind of word these things, not only when it comes to digital marketing, but anything that we generally tend to kind of create within our organization or even within our career path at times, is a lot of it, whatever we create, a lot of the times it can just stay on paper. It can just stay on screen. And that's where it's very important for us to actually take action steps off the back of this strategy, off the back of this plan that we've actually created. So you can see, for example, with Max the hairdresser in the blue speech bubbles, we've actually given Max 3 action steps for them to take. One of them is to create a Google business profile. You can see it says Google My Business. That was the previous name, but it's called Google Business Profile, which is, as we saw, is a way of kind of ourselves increasing our footprint on Google, and being able to kind of showcase things such as kind of our reviews, our photos, our provide potential customers with our opening hours and contact details as well. But also through setting up a Google business profile, we can also create a free website as well, which is useful. So we can use Google Sites. We can actually access kind of the creation of a website directly through the Google business profile kind of dashboard settings as well. So it's definitely something to consider, especially from Max's point of view, because they've already mentioned to us that they find that kind of having a website is too much of an investment right now. Whereas we've actually said to them, no, once you've actually set up a Google business profile, you can also create a website for free as well, which is also hosted by Google. So that's kind of an action step that Max can go ahead and take. Also think about kind of setting up we also said to Max, set up a Facebook business page, because we know that Max's customers are typically spending time on there, collect reviews, post pictures of customer hairstyles, and also something for the future, consider Facebook advertising as well to target people in the local areas, and also specifically run out certain adverts for new customers as well. Now, step 6 is to measure our performance. We've mentioned this throughout, especially with kind of advertising, but generally measure our performance with our kind of objectives that we set up for ourselves. So with SMART objectives, they are objectives which are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time sensitive as well. So that's what kind of SMART stands for. You can see it's in capitals because it is kind of an acronym there as well. So you can see the difference between a broad objective and a SMART objective here. So for example, you've got a broad objective which says to increase online sales, and then a SMART objective is to increase online sales by 20% within 3 months. I would kind of add even more specifics, to increase online sales of this specific product by 20% within 3 months. I'd add a bit more kind of specifics to that perhaps as well. So the more that you can kind of apply this kind of SMART objective framework, the better it will help when it comes to kind of hopefully staying on that path towards reaching that objective as well. So that is essentially the total plan that we've created for Max the hairdresser, and feel free to kind of use this framework going forward for you as well. So any questions, which I believe that Bendit has kind of been kind of answering as we've been going along, which is great. So thank you very much for that, Benedict. So in terms of your next steps to round off this webinar session, one of those next steps is to check out Google Mentoring. You can see here, if you work for a small business or charity, you can sign up for Google Mentoring. Links on screen here, and I'm sure that Bendit will kind of drop a link in the chat for you as well. In addition, feel free to also check out all the other fantastic resources on the Google Digital Garage website. Remember, the links in the video description box below. Feel free to sign up for some of the other webinars that I mentioned throughout the course of this session. Remember, they are available for you to attend at no charge, just like this session is available for you to attend at no charge as well, which we've kind of gone through as well. So I really hope that you found this session useful. Also, one thing to note is that feel free to also check out the online courses section. Remember, it's the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course, which is a course that upon completion, you'll actually receive a certificate from Google at no charge. So I want to say a massive thank you to Benedict, who I'm sure agrees has been a wonderful chat moderator. Feel free to kind of leave feedback. We've got a feedback form here on screen so that we can maybe improve webinars going forward, perhaps as well. So really hope that you enjoyed this webinar session. So thank you to Benedict. Show your appreciation for Benedict in the live chat if you wish to as well. And thank you all for tuning into this Google Digital Garage webinar session. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you. Goodbye.